Beers and Branding, or this time we're at the Anthem Tap Room. They make beautiful beer, and we have three experts that are going to be talking about marketing, branding, and all the kind of stuff that you need to know if you run a business or work in marketing. Welcome everyone to Beers and Branding. All right, thank you. I'm your host tonight. My name is Kyle Golding. I'm the CEO and Chief Strategic Idealist for the Golding Group. I'm a marketing professional who specializes in strategy and business process development, including audience development and long-term thinking. On the panel with me tonight is Lori Ford from Oklahoma Employees Credit Union. Give them 30 seconds about yourself, Lori.
All right, I love to listen and I love to say thank you and I love to appreciate people for what they have and how they're unique. And I know that my job in community development is to make people feel special and not artificially, but to truly to find out about people and to see what makes them to be their unique snowflake that they are trying to project.
Very nice. And we have Ben Childres, the brand ambassador for Anthem Brewing. We're in the Anthem tap room tonight, drinking beautiful Anthem beer. Tell the people about yourself, Ben.
Hey, I like to drink beer, and I get to do it for a living.
He gets to market beer for a living. We all think that's a good idea, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So, yeah, I run our tap room, and I'm also the manager of our social media. So, basically, I'm kind of our frontline face and voice of Anthem. Why they chose that, I'll never have any idea. But, I'm the hairy, bearded, grumpy guy behind the bar most of the time. So, thank you all for coming here. This is awesome. I'd like to see everybody here in our tap room. If this is your first time, welcome. Come see us again.
Thanks for having me.
Right, thanks. Thanks, guys. So, as you can tell, we're drinking beer in a tap room. This isn't a traditional sit in some conference room, talking heads yakking at you for 45 minutes, and then you go home and go, the hell did I get out of this? All right, we're gonna have a discussion roundtable style. I'm gonna start that off. If someone has something that they wanna talk about immediately, we'll go straight to the Q&A, or I'll throw some stuff at you. All right, I'm gonna start by asking each of our friends here on the panel to give us about 3 or 4 minutes about branding ideas and the thought process behind the brand Oklahoma Employees Credit Union.
Okay, the brand of OECU. Our main goal is to let people know that we are happy to help them. We are so opposite of a true financial bank. If you think of Dillard's, an upper end department store at the mall, and how everything costs a little bit more, we are the Sam's Club for the people. We know that the more that we get people involved and the better our numbers are when we get a bigger and larger clientele or membership, then our benefits expand and we're able to give a lot more to our members. So my job is to go out and tell people about that. My job is to tell people that we are a not-for-profit organization. We are here to help the people. We are not charging these high service fees, and we have almost every freaking thing that a bank does. A national bank, not just local banks, but you can bank in San Francisco with OECU at its credit union service center. So my goal is to communicate those type of benefits to people without sounding all cheesy and all silly. So my goal is to let people know that we're here to help them save money.
I like that you're not cheesy or selly. Selly.
Yeah.
Selly.
And my name's not Shelly.
Ben, tell the people about the Anthem brand, how you come up with your logo, and what it all means.
For us, kind of our big deal is just getting people to understand that there's beer other than Budweiser in this state. Our biggest challenge is, of course, penetrating into everybody who likes beer but doesn't know that there's local beer. And making sure that our demographic and even people outside of that demographic know that they can come in here and buy beer and drink beer 6 days a week. Most of our marketing is centered around the tap room and just getting the information out there to everyone that we exist. You guys have lived here forever. You know what the alcohol laws are like in this state and the struggles that we've had to make ourselves be more progressive and modernized. And we're getting there slowly. Things are changing, but I mean, we might as well be non-existent to the most normal person out there right now. So we work on that a lot. As far as kind of our branding and who our image and kind of what everything is, our little guy here, our dude, that's the imp. He's our little space alien, and his kind of purpose is to kind of just illustrate that we're all kind of really weird and different and unique inside. And we like to express that not only through him, but kind of all the kind of different beers that we release, how our stuff's kind of not the norm and a little bit different sometimes. And kind of our employees are the same way. We're all a little bit kind of out there every once in a while. So he's kind of our embodiment to kind of let everybody know that we're a little bit of a strange cat. So that's kind of us.
So two very different approaches to branding, audience development, communication styles, etc. Right?
Right.
So I'm going to give you guys a little story. The Golden Group branding is boring, but I'm going to give you a little story about a client that we just finished the branding for, and I don't know if you guys have seen this, so I brought some visual aids. So we just helped a client of ours open a bar downtown. It's called the Manhattan. Okay? The name Manhattan is based on the drink, not the city, because it's a classic timeless drink, but there's about 15 to 17 variations of it, some of them very new. And bartenders all around the world all know how to make a Manhattan and how to make a twist on the Manhattan, a modern version of the Manhattan. So this particular place is a very modern building. It's downtown Oklahoma City. It's amongst the high rises. But what we were asked to do was create a neighborhood bar. Well, neighborhood bar, downtown, high rise, modern, these things usually kind of juxtapose each other, right? So we needed something that was modern, clean, and high end, fit the audience that's downtown. The people that work in the particular building we're in, the Oklahoma Tower, are bankers, attorneys, CPAs, upstairs, believe it or not, and people with a very high discretionary income who like very specific things like cocktails and wine and craft beer, not Budweiser, craft beer. At the same time, we were asked to create a neighborhood bar, something that was homey and felt familiar and felt comfortable in a space that had sat empty for years and was anything but homey, comfortable, or familiar. It was all glass too, which is not very homey or comfortable. It's very modern. So the idea of the Manhattan, it's traditional, it's been around a long time, everyone knows it's familiar with it, but you can create something modern with it and put a twist on it, was the idea behind the Manhattan. So then you might ask, and I don't know if you could tell from here, but on the logo itself, there's a crow. What does a crow have to do with the Manhattan? Well, the crow actually has very little to do with the drink, the Manhattan, except this is a piece of public art that's 50 feet from the entrance of the Manhattan downtown. It's a crow on top of a piece of granite looking at an apple in this case. It's right out front. When people see the Manhattan logo, they can relate to what is geographically 50 feet away from the bar itself. In this case, our crow is looking down at a cherry because Manhattans have cherries in them, martinis have olives. We wanted to make sure we got a cherry somewhere in the marketing of the Manhattan so that we explain that a drink is with a cherry in it is a Manhattan, and drinks with martinis, with olives are martinis. So, in this case, the branding reflected the style and the feel and the audience that we were trying to establish, but also the geography and something that could be identifiable to the audience that would be coming. And the Manhattan's downtown, so their audience is within blocks of them. They're not trying to bring people in from the suburbs. They're definitely not trying to bring people in from Dallas or anywhere else like that to have drinks and dinner with them, but the people who work and live downtown for lunch, happy hour, and dinner. So it was very important for the people familiar with the area to say, where's the Manhattan? Right where that big piece of sculpture with the bird is. You're shaking your head, James. Do you think it's a good idea?
That is a great idea.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Did we do a good idea?
I
like
love
that, yeah.
sculpture. How long has it been there?
So it actually was at the back of the building previously for several years, and the city moved it up front right about the same time we started construction on our project. And so we had the name, the Manhattan. We had the concept of familiar but modern, but the visual changed because the bird came out front. So branding doesn't have set rules. There's no, it has to be this, has to be that. It has to be male, it has to be female, it has to be demographics. It doesn't have to be based on income level, education level, etc. All those old ways of thinking, right? People used to tell you, when you brand your business, you have to know who your customer is. You do, but they used to say, college educated, how much education, how much money do they make? What kind of car do they drive, etc., etc. Today, that's not the case, right? I'm seeing some heads bob, right? That's not the case anymore. People are so varied, and they break into subsets, and they have connections they would have never had before, because now we get to talk to each other on the internet via social media. And so you might like a particular sports team, you might like a particular type of alcohol, you might like a particular type of food, and in the past you wouldn't have connected with each other because you were also completely different jobs, completely different economic levels, completely different education backgrounds, or just geographically lived away from each other. But now we can all connect in these things and become subgroups within subgroups within subgroups, which is good and bad for marketers. It's good because if you'll drill all the way down to the subgroup within the subgroup within the subgroup within the niche and authentically connect with that audience, they're yours, 100%. And you deliver on expectations. In the past, you had 3 TV stations, 2 radio stations, and 1 public newspaper. It was great because your advertising got to everybody. It sucked because it had to go to everybody. What's your approach, Larry? What are your thought processes when you kind of think about how you need to go from general public to potential credit union consumers to people who maybe live in a specific part of town, or are public employees or not public employees? How do you address different audiences?
Well, we have a lot of different segments. I don't know how many of you are aware, but we're a main sponsor of the Plaza District, and we love that sponsorship. We love to be able to support that whole district. Every business there is owned by a sole or local business owner, so that I don't know if they're born in Oklahoma, but they're living in Oklahoma. That means a lot to us, because you know what? That tax base stays here. It stays here in the state. You're not paying to someplace, like thinking of how Walmart is, or Arvest Bank, or Chase. We focus on Oklahoma, and we love the fact that as our state employee members, that yes, they are working for the state, and yes, the budget is crunching, and the governor's crunching, and all these numbers are dwindling down, but you know what? Does Arkansas care about that tax budget? No, they don't care at all. So I would say our membership is probably like about 70% of state employees, and then the rest of it is local Oklahoma City metro area. That includes, Edmond, Yukon, the bordering counties. So everyone in those counties can be members of OECU. So my job is to go and make sure that those people know that they're eligible to be members of OECU. So I'm down the Plaza District a lot. I'm going to be there tomorrow night at the Friends of the Party. The Friends of the Plaza District Party serving beer. And so what will I be talking about? I'll be talking about, hey, we love supporting the Plaza District because we love supporting the small businesses. And we know that as we support small businesses, we are bringing in more tax dollars and helping to promote those businesses' success.
Quick question for all of you. How many of you knew that you didn't have to be a state employee to be a member of OECU?
I did not know that.
So half and half, right? So what you would expect, right? Some people would know it, some people wouldn't.
Our name is a little misleading. So, because, our Kyle Peters right here, raise your hand, Kyle. He is our government business development person. So he goes out to every agency in Oklahoma and talks to those employees all over the state about OECU, which is a massive job. My job is to go out and tell everybody else in Oklahoma County and the neighboring counties, hey, you can belong too. So I go and I help do seminars and do different types of public events where I create public events. We're a main sponsor. We are the only, or I should say, we are one of 2 paying sponsors of the Open Streets whole event. Right. Open Streets last year in the spring of 2016 had over 40,000 attendees. over 40,000 people, okay? That's a lot of people. I mean, you're talking about a street party that's all family oriented. You can bring your kids there. There's no smoking or any drinking that's there allowed.
Oh, no drinking. What?
So we love that.
I don't like that.
Health and wellness at a public event. And you know, and it comes natural to me. I love it. I have such a passion for all these big open events like this. I love being involved with the Plaza District and the Live on the Plaza events. But this is such a natural follow through to be involved with open streets because it's the health department. And you know what? A lot of those health department employees are members of OECU, but those 40,000 people that come to open streets are not necessarily members of OECU. So it helps just double fold our sponsorship of such an event.
You guys do a lot of events too. You sponsor a lot of events, you provide beer, you provide sponsorship money, you provide your space like you're doing tonight too. What's your theory, philosophy, and how does it pay you back to do those things?
Well, what you'd like to see is return, of course. See the idea that we do a lot of community outreach and get people to have our beer basically in a free environment. But the idea is that they will turn back around and come back to you.
Right.
They'll either come here to the tap room or they'll pick up our 4-pack first when they go to the store, or they'll see our pints on draft or whatever when they go into a restaurant or bar, and they remember that hey, Anthem sponsored that thing I went to that one time last year and a month ago.
If you had $100 budget, would you rather put it towards an event, towards a print ad, towards a Facebook ad, towards a radio commercial? What would you do with that? First thing you would do with $100?
That's probably it was probably something I would do in here.
Right.
Yeah. The more you can drive people in here face to face with us and get them inside of our building is better than anything else.
And then they're consuming your product, and they'll either like it or not, right?
Yeah, they'll like it. Yeah.
Can I add, I totally appreciate Anthem's support
Right.
of Plaza District. I mean, they donate beer for the Friends of the Plaza Party. I mean, it's just that, it's that local whole attitude. And I appreciate that in every Oklahoman. I'm a born and raised Oklahoman.
Me too.
My dad owns his own pharmacy for over 30 years. How many people do you know in a pharmacy? I mean, CVS and Walgreens, come on, So I love it in this whole era of Coors and Bud Light that here's
Right.
Anthem busting their butts.
Is anyone else here actively using events to market your business or nonprofit organization? I know you do, Cher. My wife at the back of the room has the biggest nonprofit event in the state.
Raise your hand, Cher. That's how it was. She's wonderful.
Nonprofits love events. They're effective for engaging and cost efficient as well. Anyone else using events specifically for?
Well, I mean, OKC Happy Hour is an event that I've used for years,
Right.
and I run, and it's never hurts to be the marketing guy behind the largest networking event in the city,
But you bring value to the locations that
Yes.
you bring the event to, right?
and to the people that come. So
Right.
it's
It's a win-win.
great for everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
When are you coming here?
What's up? Yeah.
You do events?
Yeah, most of those events, but I think our biggest problem is like trying to expand the demographic.
Expand your demographic? That's always a trick, right? Anyone else have issues expanding your demographic? Right? Right. So, it's something you said earlier, the Plaza District is a perfect demographic for craft beer, yes? Which is one of the reasons that you might be in the Plaza District as opposed to maybe something else.
Yeah. I mean, it's a
Bricktown
great-
or something
yeah,
like
it's a
that?
great place for us. I mean, everyone there is the majority of people that hang out there are fairly young.
Right.
And that's our main area.
So I have some very specific thoughts about demographics and audience. So I'm gonna just jump into that right now since you brought it up. Obviously, we always want to build the biggest audience we can. But the failure that a lot of marketers make is when they try to build a large audience, that they shotgun out and they don't hit anybody, right? That goes back to that ad in the newspaper. If you put some general ad in the newspaper that just says we're open, sure, 100,000 people will see it. Who gives a crap? Who's engaged by it? Who's actually going to show up? And here's the most fun. This never ever happens, right? No one ever walks in and says, I saw the ad in the paper, I'm here.
Right.
When it comes to audience development, you want to build as wide of an audience as possible, obviously, but you have to put caps on both ends, and I try to explain these in kind of a range, like 1 through 10, okay? So 5 is the center of a range, and 5 is your perfect audience member, someone who loves craft beer, would never drink anything else, is over 21 years old, lives nearby, engages in the Plaza District. It's true, right? 20-year-olds should be familiar but not fans yet. 15-year-olds should not even know you exist. Right,
birthday.
there you go, their 21st birthday. The failure, and this is where it can get complicated, okay, is if you go out and throw budget and throw time and throw effort, whether it's buying ads or doing social media, whatever, and you're trying to get 80-year-old grandmothers and 12-year-old soccer players and CPAs and retired people, if you're trying to get all of these people to like your barbecue or to like your beer or to come to your happy hour or to engage in your photography services, if you're doing this, just all you're doing is just shitting away your money and your effort. You have to focus 100% on your core, own your core audience, loyal to the bone, and then expand from there 1 degree at a time. So barbecue fans who are willing to follow the food truck on social media is your core. I'm assuming, we just met. Right, so you make great barbecue. You might think we need to go after people who are fans of a certain burger joint. Not necessarily. You need to own barbecue. You need to dominate the barbecue space.
And that's the whole, like, that's the bulk of my money is already
Okay,
our return customers, but how do you get new customers?
so the next step, right? So that you're at that 5, you're at that center, you know who your audience is, you know who your core is. You don't go 3 steps off of that and go to people who like to go out and dine, people who eat meat, right? And then people who are adventurous eaters, and then people who like to try new things. See how we're going a little bit further from your core, but we're not going all the way outside from your core. The worst mistake you could ever make as a marketer, and typically your client or your boss will tell you this, and they're the ones making the mistake, don't let them. Everybody's our client. Bullshit. Everybody is not your client. Unless you're selling oxygen, everybody is not your client. Don't let your boss or your client run you down that fallacy. I'm going to get to you in a second, but I'm going to lose this thought if I don't say it. So look at your core and let your core tell you when people come to the barbecue truck, you can engage them and ask them what else they do. Do they drink craft beer? Do they eat burgers? Do they eat steak? Do they go to ball games? Are they Thunder fans? See what I'm going? Your current best audience, that core that is going to always connect with you 100% of the time, they can tell you who the next degree is and the next degree, as opposed to guessing and trying to just, I don't know, who do we bring in? You obviously aren't going after vegans. That makes sense. So as you come back from vegans, you have to get much, much closer to your core. People who are casual barbecue fans are right next to people who are hardcore barbecue fans.
Ask for their referral.
Yes.
Ask it. Be bold. I mean, drop that fear level. Ask for their referral. Say, hey, I know that you like our barbecue, and, is there someone at your office or maybe your best friend who would also like our barbecue too? Because I need to schedule some more dates this week or next week or 2 weeks, Ask it. What is it going to hurt you? You're only going to make some business, right? I mean, you're only going to be able to expand that. Someone's not going to say, oh my God, I'm never going to schedule them again because they asked me for a referral.
Or you love our ribs, what else do you like? What sides do you like? What other places do you go to? What other things do you do with your money? Food isn't just food versus food. It isn't barbecue versus burgers versus pizza versus beer. Because I have $10 to spend, where am I going to spend it? I might spend that $10 downloading a song, or an album for $10, right? Or buying a ticket to Beers and Branding, or buying beer and not going to the barbecue truck. So you're competing with everyone and everything, which is why you have to be so specific in who you're marketing and communicating to, and then be consistently in their face with the same message over and over again and letting them inform you what the next step is. Audience is going to be like, it's a startup, so we expect it, or you start a job and you're like, here's who comes to have our barbecue or drink our beer, and it turns out that's not them. Has that happened? I'm seeing some nods, yes? Okay, so again, because marketing isn't set in stone, you have to adapt and change with the audience that actually shows up and engages. The engagement is all that matters. Showing up, spending their money, or coming to the tap room coming to the tap room is step one. Spending their money is step two. Following the food truck on Twitter is one, but going and showing up somewhere and then spending their money is engagement, right? That's step two. They'll tell you what they want and how they want to engage. It's our job as marketers to pay attention to it. So marketing is a two-way conversation. You've heard me say this before. It's a two-way conversation. Marketing isn't yelling, Anthem beer is the best. That's advertising. Right.
Right. You did.
That message. Yeah.
Advertising is yelling, we're the best, come buy our product. Marketing is a two-way conversation where you engage your audience, take feedback from them, bring it back in internally, work with your team to tell them they love this beer, but they don't like this one. They think the price is too high or too low. They think that the season ends too early on the seasonal, whatever it is. Whatever that happens, if the marketing team, if Ben learns this from the audience, that they all say beer A is awesome, but we're not so crazy about beer B. He has to communicate that to the team here. He's not in charge of brewing, but he has to let them know if we do 20% more of beer A, we're going to sell 20% more because the audience is engaging better than beer B. You had a
I do several things for a living, but what I do is I sell vintage stuff at vintage shows. And so one thing I'll say is, hey, whatever you buy, come back and show me.
right?
Because it gets them back to you, and then they don't all take you up on it, but some of them will, and then they start looking around your booth again. So that's just one thing. Have that
Right.
dialogue and communicating.
So you engage them, like Lori was saying, ask. No one's ever said, forget you, lady, right? They say, sure.
They're like, okay.
You get a lot more no's than yeses, right? Or a lot more didn't do it, which is fine.
But then what's
Let me add on from a female perspective.
Okay.
That as a woman, I mean, we like attention. If we like this way, the shirt.
She said it, I
bought
didn't.
From you with my own necklace that I've had for 20 years. No, not this one, but you know, I mean, then I kind of like the attention. If you retweet my Instagram, or you know, I mean, if you go and put that out there, if you go and share it and say, hey, look what Lori did with the shirt that I sold to her, then that shows that you value her opinion. And that is really one of the huge keys of marketing, is appreciation and I said a huge key, two huge keys, appreciation and acknowledgement.
All based on engagement. You engaged to begin with, you asked them to come back, share with me, and then you paid attention to them once they did, right?
Yeah.
Right, Heather? When people, like they come and they like, is this cute? Does it look good? Does it come together?
And you're like, oh my gosh, I love what you found. Because then it becomes that fun.
Right.
And if you love vintage stuff, then that's kind of, it's all about the fun.
When you make a suggestion that isn't necessarily the most expensive thing, but actually works for their body type, their hair color, whatever it is, right? Are they going to come back a second and third time? Right? So paying attention to the audience, engaging them, and then taking that information and using it to inform how you move forward is how we win. I like the Black Mesa ESB. I love it. I like the Arjuna that Anthem makes. I like the F5 that Coupe makes. I'm very specific to different things. I'm drinking a great IPA right now. So I am loyal to my local brands, but I do pick and choose, like you said. It's all about trying different things and experimenting and stuff. And it's and when you say I like this one beer from this brewery, it definitely doesn't mean that brewery is terrible. It just means that's your personal taste, right? I'll tell you something. We have a conversation about Andrell and myself, Toby, and all of us that work together on this project. It is very hard to build brand loyalty because it's very hard to build actual brand equity, to build brand consistency, to get people to know your brand with one note of a song or 2 seconds of a commercial. Because fortunately, here's what happens. It goes back to the boss or the client, right? And I use these terms interchangeably. Some of us work in-house, some of us work for clients, right? They're not patient. They want to go straight to the throat, right? Sell, 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 sell. I'm assuming you're agreeing with that because your reaction. Okay. They don't want to establish the brand. They want to sell, 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 right? Every time I get up here and talk, I go back to my favorite brand example of all time, Apple. So, Apple has never put a commercial on TV or on the internet and told you the price of something. It's not what they do. But brand loyalty.
Scared afterwards.
Probably so. But they have brand loyalty. I will buy anything from Apple and I don't care. I'll wait in line for it. I'll pay whatever they want for it. I don't care. They have better headphones. Okay, great. Laptop, I buy it. Phone, I buy it. I'm an Apple disciple. But if you think about their marketing doesn't list the features and benefits of their laptops. They don't talk about the volume of their headphones. They don't tell you the speed of processors that they have in their desktops. They show you what you do with it. They engage your lifestyle. They participate with you as a human being and not a consumer. That brand patience takes such a long time and such an investment that if we're working on a local level, getting our client or our boss to make that long play is nearly impossible. Where we fail is we try something for 6 months and then quit. We try a promotion, we try a marketing tactic, we try a campaign, we use a different platform. We do something for a period of time and then stop. That inconsistency is where the brand falls apart and where we have a hard time with brand loyalty. And it happens to, I think, all of us. Yeah. It's a little different with, I think, beer than other things because you do have a range of products that have different varieties of taste and are really aimed at different subsets, right?
The idea is to get something for everyone.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course, one of the things I love craft beer. I drink craft beer all the time. I'm kind of into whiskey right now, so
I get
but
that.
So, but I go drink with people. I drink and I talk and we have fun. But one of my goals in life is to get as many people from drinking Bud Light as possible. And so anytime that I'm with somebody that they're wanting to order that crappy craft beer, Anthem is always the thing I look for to say, hey, let's try this.
So earlier when I said your core audience, that perfect, 100% dedicated every time, always, you're the guy.
Yeah.
You're the guy who drinks Anthem and is a champion of Anthem and brings other people to it, right?
Absolutely.
So now all Ben has to do is go to the left of you and to the right of you.
Right.
And then slightly again to the right of you and slightly again to the left of you and not way over here too. I've never even had beer. Collaboration with the competitor, is it always negative? No. In fact, I'll go one further for you. You should do it.
Positive, yeah.
If you're doing what you do, you know that you're doing it as well as you can, and you're very specific in what you do. The types of beer you make, other people make maybe a different variation, different type of beer, right? Your IPA is different than Coop's IPA. Tastes different, right? It's all about let's get in a room and let's battle it out. Let's find people with preferences. The people who prefer your competitor, let them go.
Hey, can I add this?
Yes.
That as credit unions, we're not for profit. So we work together and we're not like bank to bank being so competitive. We really do support other credit unions. It's like, okay, you're a people group and you have this common interest. Tinker Federal Credit Union, you guys all work at Tinker, and maybe you all like Tinker. That's great, that's awesome. We also support not-for-profit. We also are credit unions. So we like to support each other in the fact that people are seeking an alternative form of banking. Okay, that's huge right there, that people are taking responsibility for the end result at the end of month of how much they have left in their banking account. So we like to be that credit union that says, hey, you've got a little bit more. So we are not competitive as, say, bank to bank. We are a little bit more, universal. And
every industry has their different scenarios. You're in financial, which is a regulated industry, but you're also a nonprofit entity credit union as opposed to a bank. Obviously, you're a for-profit entity. I'm a for-profit entity, but I'm a B2B. You're a B2C, but you also sell to liquor stores, right? So you're B2B a little mix in there. It's all different. It's all different. But the main point, which I want you to take away from this, is if you think you win by avoiding your competition, quit. Go home. If your thing can't stand up and say, this is what we do, and there's going to be something that you do well and something you don't do well. You're going to have a better price, a better delivery method, speed of delivery, better customer service. There's something in there that you can own, that you can say, we hang our hat on a great tap room and a great range, or the taste and flavors, or the crafting style. And someone else is going to say, but our prices are better, or we have speed to market, or we have a bigger tap room. And someone else is going to say something different. Every consumer is going to go to the thing that makes sense to them. So instead of making some fake campaign that talks about la la la, we have clowns and we have blah blah blah, and we're trying to trick you into buying our thing, that then you'll buy it and then go, the crap is this, and never come back. Don't spend time and effort there. Spend time and effort in finding the person who is attracted to the way you do business. And if they are attracted to your competition, let it go, because you're going to lose a head-to-head anyway, so why waste your time, money, and budget on trying to attract them to your scenario? Yes, you should go to the craft beer event, which I'm assuming you probably are. The point, what Ben has to do is Ben and his team have to be so comfortable with how they make their beer, what it tastes like, and how it's different than other variations of an IPA, a Pilsner, a Stout, etc. And when someone goes, I like my Stout stronger, Ben and his team have to say, okay. And when they say, I like my IPA hoppier, they say, okay. But the people who come through and go, oh, that other stuff is too hoppy, I love this, now Ben's into conversation. Now he's going to meet their expectation, and he's going to keep them for a long time. The problem, where people fail, and this is where our boss fails, right? Our boss and our client, it's never us, is, but wait, there's 700 other people in this place that like beer, I got to get them all. No, crap, even if you're just talking to people, you're wasting your time trying to go talk to the people who want their IPA to be 3 times hoppier than yours. Let it go. That's the failure, is being obsessed with the client who doesn't connect with you in the right way. When you let that go and you just focus on James, when you just focus on the guy who loves you, is going to champion you, is always going to be loyal to you, and then who he brings to the table, and every time he comes back to my table, I pay attention to everyone with him. Now I'm really in a conversation that can make me new clients and new fans, as opposed to, but these people and these people and these people and these people. So it's focus, and it's more about your internal conversation with your team than it is what you do publicly outwardly. Outwardly, they put their beer out and see what happens. But they don't shy away from being in the room with 200 other brewers. And it can be a variety of things. It can be the style in which they want to operate. They want to go too fast, they want to go too slow. They want to be too aggressive. Maybe they want to cut corners and you don't ethically feel very comfortable with it. All of these are reasons for you to say, maybe we're not the right fit, the right combination. It's the time and effort you would spend wasting with them is your failure. Because that time and effort, budget, etc., can be over here with someone who can become your champion. That's the only focus, is stop talking to everybody, only talk to these people, and then the people who come with them, because they're several degrees off of your core. That's where people fail all the time is, I want everybody as a
Let
client.
me add, is that whenever I was in retail many years ago, there was someone that walked into the shop that said, hey, do you have XYZ? I said, I've got one thing that kind of fits what you're talking about, but I don't know if it's the right thing. If this isn't it, you might go to our competitor because you might find what you're looking for. And you know what? They came back to me and they said, wow, we really respect the fact that you told us to go to your competitor.
Right.
And I mean, we weren't really looking for this other stuff that you have in your store, but we kind of like it and we like your attitude. So then they became customers. Isn't that cool? Yeah. Because they respected our culture and our mindset.
And what people don't realize, customer service is marketing. Sales is marketing. They're different. You can't have hiring marketing people to do your sales, and you can't get a sales guy to go do your marketing. Yeah. But the way sales are done creates a rapport or a lack of a rapport with the client, and that affects marketing. The way customer service is done, the way pricing is done, the way research is done, the way R&D is done. All of these things should be a two-way conversation, which is why marketing is a two-way conversation. The audience will always tell you what they want, what they're willing to pay for, what they like, what they don't like, how they want to be engaged, how they don't want to be engaged. We have to listen and then take it back into the office and get everyone else in our organization, the client or the boss's boss, to understand that your idea doesn't mean anything. Our clients, our potential audience is telling us this. The boss's ego is the worst decision maker there is, right?
Yeah.
None of our current bosses, of course, but when your boss says, but I want it this way, screw that. It's the audience. It's listening to your audience. It's seeing what things sell and what time of day and at what price point and the time of the year and the weather and all these other things that you go, when these things happen, we sell this product at a great clip. And when these things happen, we don't. How do we avoid these things and stay here? It's not about, well, but I sure like blue. Who cares if the boss likes blue or the boss's wife likes blue or some random one person walked in off the street and said it's too complicated, let's simplify it. One person, really? Now 1,000 people? Yes, but not one person, right? It's our job as marketers and communicators to have a two-way conversation and to bring this informed decision-making back inside our organization and make good, smart decisions. If Ben goes to this craft beer festival and everyone drinks 9 of the beers and number 10, no one touches it. He needs to let the team know that style is probably not a fit for Oklahoma City. If he doesn't take that information back, they'll make it and it'll sit on shelves and it'll fail. So marketing is an integrated part of everything. Everything is an integrated part of marketing. That's why it's our jobs as marketers and communicators is to try to touch everything, try to connect everything, and try to educate everyone in our ecosystem about why it's important that this communication happens and that this decision making is based on audience and market factors and not our personal decisions, because it's not a personal thing. It's not a me versus you. It's a us doing better with our audience. Lori, how does the brand concept get communicated all the way down through all the employees of Oklahoma Employees Credit Union?
Brand concept. Well, honestly, I mean, I know that we really do like for our employees to volunteer at our events because we're out there. We like to be in the community. We don't like to slap our name on a boat race, like I said earlier. You know, we don't like to be that artificial thing. For me, if I'm not able to be present at an event, I am very unlikely able to sponsor your event. That my manager wants me personally invested to be there so that I can interact with people. They don't want that name OECU unless there's a person there talking about OECU. And not that we're talking about OECU, but just being OECU.
A face
Yeah.
with it, right?
Our goal is really not to look at everything that's differences for everyone to look at, all the, or what we have in common with everyone. My personal goal, my goal as a marketer and as a human is to build bridges. I say that on my Facebook profile. I am a bridge builder. My goal is to connect to you no matter what your employer or your interests are. I love to learn about people. I am interested in the whole human development and to know what really everyone else has to offer, because I know that not everyone's like me. And you know what? If everyone's like me, this world would be pretty damn boring. Okay? So my goal is to find out what makes everyone different and to respect that interest.
I'm going to leave you with this idea. I do a lot of big picture strategy and planning for large corporations. And the worst thing that can happen for me is when I do that work and then I go to that place 6 months later and the people at the place have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, because it doesn't come all the way through. Whether there are 7 people or 700 or 7,000 employees, what a company does at the top level, whether it's strategy, direction, audience development, economic viability, all of these things have to be communicated all the way through an organization, from the CEO to the interns, 100%. There's no, you don't need to know this in any business. And I see that failure a lot, so that's why I wanted to bring up that point. Whether we have three people in an organization or 3,000, it's understanding your audience and then internally communicating this process and working as a team to provide the experience that's expected. That's what marketing is. That's how we can do good job with getting our brand down to the street, is by communicating internally. It's by not holding things back and you don't need to know that, and only people at this level need to know, and only managers, only directors, all this kind of corporate mumbo jumbo crap that's very 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, right?
That's still today.
It still happens. I still deal with it all the time. Like I said, we write these grandiose plans. We figure out who the audience is. We know who they are. We have the language. And then you go in the back door and the first guy you run into goes, no, I don't know. Forget you, buddy. And so all this marketing work that we do falls apart if the people who are pouring the beer, or the people that are the tellers at the window, or the drive-through, or the person who answers the emails or the phone calls doesn't buy in. And they can't buy in if we as leaders don't communicate to them. So that's the answer to your question is communication, and not holding anything back. And I also believe that it includes financially too. When a company's doing well, the C-suite should be telling the people at every level how well they're doing or how well they're not doing. That's a very old style of like, well, we're not going to tell everyone we had a down quarter. You should tell everyone you have a down quarter, because they're invested, because they're not just a number employee, they work for you. If you communicate with them, then they become invested in the process, and then they become to represent your brand. And a human being that represents a brand is 1 billion times more powerful than a Super Bowl ad. So at the end of the day, human connection, communication, and authenticity of who it is that you are, who your audience is, and how you should be doing business together because they like and connect with how you do it, or let them go somewhere that does it different, that connects with them better. That's how we become successful in a big picture sort of kind of way. Self-branding is the concept, but it gets hard because it's like talking about yourself in third person, right? But it's what you would do for a client.
And I can do that all day long.
Okay.
But to brand myself, it's just really hard. So I'm just curious what other people do in the way they do.
I'm going to give you 2 tips. One is think of yourself as a client and pull yourself out of it, and actually speak. She says, or speak, or find someone else who's a self-brand and swap those conversations.
Yeah.
Collaborate with someone else who's another marketer, someone else who can remove themselves that you can have an honest conversation with. You know, here's what I'm all about, here's what I'm trying to do, here's who my audience is. I just don't know how to say it, and it feels weird for me saying it. And let a third party do that work for you, and then hopefully maybe in exchange you can provide some service to them and it becomes a win-win. Right.
Let me add one thing, and I know this is an electronic world, all right? When is the last time you received a handwritten thank you note?
I do
I get them all.
Keep doing them. They're the best thing ever,
I
right?
get them a lot.
Yes.
I have a whole cork board in there full of them.
I do too. I put every one of them up.
It's a reminder. End of the year, we go, hey, look what we did this year.
Just as of September, and you know, just the fact that someone is personally reaching out to him, writing a handwritten note.
Right.
I'm like, thank you for letting me come into your home this week, or just like,
Anything.
hey, you're doing this on
You
your own.
are, you know, right now the digital world is expanding footprint. When you as a realtor, you've got that personal relationship. You get to meet someone face to face. That is so much greater than everyone else in this electronic world. It is powerful.
The digital tools are tools. Don't use them as a crutch. It's the personal communication that gets you over. The digital tools open the door and begin a conversation. Human beings make connections, build business relationships, and do business together. So we can't rely all on the digital tools, and we can't rely on old way of doing things. It has to be a mix of all that stuff.
You have that ultra benefit right there. Take advantage of it.
Lori, what do you want to wrap up on?
I want to say, everyone, drop your fear boundaries.
Good.
Stop worrying about what makes you different from everyone else.
Yes.
Look at your commonalities. Look at those and bust them and group together and form different type of unions with everyone. Because, you know, like Kyle and I, we met on Twitter like 7 years ago.
Right.
Okay? Years ago. Whenever people thought, oh, on Twitter, oh my goodness, how can anyone even have any type of real relationship? You know what? I mean, I respect him. He's an awesome guy. And I appreciate the fact that he invited me to speak tonight. And you know, you never know where that next bridge is going to lead you.
True.
You never know. It's 7 years later.
Everyone, round of applause. Lori Ford, Ben Childres, Anthem, Wedge Pizza, Wolf Barbecue, Oklahoma Employees Credit Union. Thank you guys for coming. We will do this again in 90 days. Website, social media, have fun with it. I will stay here and answer every question until we're done, or 9 o'clock.
Okay, and be sure to book Wolf's Barbecue Food Truck.
There you go.
Over there. Wolf's Barbecue Food Truck.
Wave, ladies. There you go. There you go. Thank you guys for coming. Appreciate you.